wherever you may be, you are tuned into Speed Gaming 2, here for another Link to the Past Randomizer main tournament, round of 64. That's the beginning of brackets. Tournament Sanity match. This is game 3 between Magno and Illus. I am Udai, joined today by Lanabean. Good morning, Lanabean.
Morning. I may not sound it, but I'm feeling good. Thanks. How are you today?
Doing simply phantasmagorical. I just got out of work. It's the morning for most folks, and I am looking to see some work getting done here. It's Speed Gaming 2 between these two who want to advance further into the bracket. We're already seeing a lot of folks into the round of 32, second round of that bracket, and these two are hoping to get further there themselves.
Both teams in this bracket, Illus and Magno, and Max 7898 and FaZe are all 1-1, so there are nobody's who's gone for the bracket 32 yet, but this will determine at least part of that. We have Key Sanity going on today, so basically it's a Key Sanity, but both the GT Big Key and the Council Tower keys are all vanilla for this mode.
All right, well, immediate divergence here. We get a sword out of out of the house. You'd think the uncle just left it there instead of dealing with the passage, as Illus goes the opposite direction, heading north side.
Yeah, good start to the race. Good excuse to go ahead and clear out the front of the skate.
Yeah, and having that sword definitely makes this more appealing. A lot of folks would nope out of that with a save and quit if they didn't have a weapon. When you have a guaranteed weapon, you can do the whole escape with. Definitely feels comfy going through the entire thing now.
For sure, don't have to worry as much about getting bombs or another weapon for the big down. Got some parts in the tree pole, not much there.
And just to rehash a little bit on this Key Sandy mode, Lana, of course, already mentioned that the GT Big Key and the Castle Tower Smalls are shuffled in this pool. Or not shuffled in this pool, but the rest of them are, and you're certainly going to gather every single freestanding one that you see out there. Illus finding that Skull Wood Small handy, not necessarily critical, depending on how things pan out.
For routing, don't have to go to the back and steal anything, so it's nice.
And is this the fabled Kakariko skip? Illus leaving out of the forest and heading back to the uncle.
Probably not forever, but it could be just an early play for sure.
Bit of your standard sword spin tech here on the blue guard. Magno grabbing a piece of heart. Following's all the way down to Zelda's cell. I'm curious to see if we'll see a death warp. I imagine we probably will, back to the back half of escape. Something that's pointed out in chat is that Illus does have 20 rupees over Magno right now, and that may have contributed into skipping Kakariko for the time being. You never really want to have to deal with a Kakariko without bombs, and you could potentially be in a situation where farming that money for bombs is really time costly. So heads up play from Illus. We'll see how Magno handles this if there's no money here. Well, I would think Magno wanted the 8/ there, turned into 10, and a couple of deft dodges, as that'll give Illus a little bit of time back here if Illus can do that with less consternation. That is a Cane of Burnout. Well, I gotta say, Lana, I would expect Magno to feel more invincible, but not quite the magic meter to support that claim. While finding another compass here in the escape sequence, Illus is diving all the way down to the ball and chain guard. We did not see a death warp from Magno, who has just uncovered for us that the bush crab has 5 rupee drops, which may end up being kind of important. Now, I have to ask you, Lana, would you be worried about that small key on the lumberjack ledge if you were in this particular race? I know I certainly would be thinking about it at the very minimum, but certainly, definitely something that you have to remember in these runners' situation. All right, we're seeing some south route bombs being gathered by Illus here. Gonna refresh the screen. Hopefully, gonna get at least 2, hopefully 3 if we can. Good shot to get into.
I accidentally muted my stream for some reason. I'm so sorry about that.
Just glad to have you with us as we continue seeing bomb farming from Illus. Magno gonna jump into blindside out with no bombs. That's spicy.
And to answer your question from a minute ago, I'm not too terribly concerned about that lumberjack key. There's only a couple of keys you're worried about from maybe right side desert or more importantly swamp palace, so a little bit early to worry about that.
Yeah, and plenty of time for us to find out if that's even important in the first place. As mentioned, there's only some that can really burn you hard. Of course, we don't even know which dungeons we need thanks to the maps being shuffled in this pool.
Yeah, it's out a key on that library though. So also to keep in mind.
More bomblessness here for Magno. Finally getting 3. We'll have to revisit blindside out.
It's one of the worst keys to the dungeon, the big key to swamp palace, so gosh.
You know, on some level, though, I do appreciate finding it early just so I never have to worry about that chest.
True. If you have to go in the swamp, you do not have to double dip.
All right, Illus, after having bought bombs, has received more in the chicken shack. That is gonna feel rough if the merchant ends up having something important. Oh, apparently, Chaz informed me I'm a liar. Illus actually just gathered 10 from a chest. My bad.
Cheating, though.
And immediate vindication for Magno, or not Magno, I'm sorry, Illus, who would have just got bombs from that vendor anyway.
They have enough money to get bottle vendors, and they got the blind sets, so that's nice too. Hey, some compasses early on. Don't need those game bikes though.
Not a whole lot going on in this village right now. We have checked everything, it looks like. But both of our runners really not coming up with much besides a bottle for that sick kid and mail upgrade. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty empty Kakariko overall for sure. So this is being true of this evening. You could cack skip if you wanted to. Is that maybe that library good knowledge with that big key, of course.
Well, Magno's going to go all the way through the race game without checking it first. A defensible option when not a lot's been discovered so far.
I usually do that too. It's good to go ahead and just go straight to there. If Kakariko's pretty fair, and it gives it a better chance of having at least something. Just not today.
Yeah, of course, if we were in an Randomizer seed, we might want that. Certainly not a value to us in a key sanity.
Yeah, just an item count in a dungeon. These runners know what's in there.
All right, well, things have been pretty linear between the two of them, despite a slightly different opening. We're seeing both of them doing practically a virtual high five. You may as well call it a transition five.
Yeah, just a couple screens apart here, not too much. A little bit of extra money from the van, always nice.
Yeah, and I suppose in grand total, a 3 rupee difference between the two of them after this.
Not a whole lot, nowhere near as all money yet, but making our way up there. It's like just one of the mini Moldorms playing a little bit with Illus, but gone with that with one extra bomb.
Well, the finest handwear, finest tools, finest armor, and even a bonus bug net. A lot going on here in Mini Moldorm Cave. We are grateful to have that sword today and walk out with much more.
Back of Escape's definitely looking a lot more tempting at this point.
Yeah, not only do you have what you need to go through there, feeling pretty safe, you also have the back entrance available to you with that glove. And Magno, not going to bother with Ice Rod Cave, I think, for exactly the reason you just mentioned.
Not a bad decision at this point. You don't even have Moon Pearl, so flippering to check Waterfall Fairy is not really an option right now. It's only a bad decision, of course, if there's a here, which there's not.
I mean, all you really got to do to win this tournament is go to where the items are, right?
Easy peasy, exactly.
It also helps if your bombs blow up walls.
Yeah, Magno fighting up a hard way, that sometimes bombs don't do what they should. Well, thanks, game. One more check in Kakariko. We appreciate that.
Logical and potentially on first pass available magic bat.
Right? It's like that's exactly what Magno's doing. Maybe going up the mountain, but right now, possibly. Well, maybe a mountain play for Magno.
Alrighty.
Up the mountain for Magno. That's not a bad play.
Did I just see a hook shot?
I think we just saw a hook shot on Highly Island.
What I don't understand is how are you even supposed to get there without that hook shot? I didn't see a ladder.
Right? Cheeky game.
Well, we'll pull it together somehow. Maybe after reflecting a little further on the logic of this seed. Illus trying to extend further into this race by checking Sahasrahla, who has 3 items in this shack, as we get a cape here on the mountain.
What a shock, Thieves Town pendant. Half magic occurred only 5.
Well, things almost getting a little dicey here in the mountain for Magno. Heart on the Spectacle Rock ledge may be taunting him at this point with that heartbeat, as the Titan's mitts here inside the cave. Oh, goodness.
It's like the sequence broken, but good to know.
Yeah, and I suppose we would expect that the lamp would... We saw mini or Ice Rod Cave from Illus, right?
We did. It was 10 arrows, so you're looking at progression, Eastern Palace, Agena, or Zora at this point, logically.
And we could even get Magic Bat. Ooh, Mirror.
Okay, that kind of tells us that Death Mount may be a thing pretty quickly, but it could also be just access to that action potential. Mirror's not going to do anything immediately, but having it on hand is definitely good.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're not considering just the convenience of getting everything, and there is a Moon Pearl, everything in your path along the way when you're in the Dark World, just being able to go back to the entrance of a dungeon. If you don't find this mirror early in this route, or if you abandon that check for other things, I could really burn hard, so it looks like both of them will end up getting it early.
We also got that Moon Pearl out of Eastern Palace, so that's logical. Dark World access already. Also both have knowledge of that hook shot, so as soon as they find those flippers wherever they know hook shot's readily available.
An additional detail to remember about how the key sanity mode works here, the maps now tell you whether or not a dungeon is a crystal or a pendant when you walk in with a letter icon. So our runners technically don't even have to open their map at all to check things. Like Illus here does know that this dungeon is a crystal without having to actually look, on the world map.
Yeah, not much you could do right now without a bow, unfortunately, but for them it means that we know this is a crystal, so they could probably double it up a pot and they get a chance to. Answer a question in chat. It does when you pull open the map, it won't in the actual dungeon.
Yeah, and of course, what a lot of people will do instead is if they already have a reason to be in the Dark World near the bomb shop, they may just check that when they replenish bombs anyway, if they're in the area, because the merchant there does give you the hint for the 5-6.
It's like Illus is going right in the high cave hoping for flippers or something to make that hook shot gettable.
Now, the Moldorms weren't holding out, and finding flippers here would be really big. So far, a whole lot of nothing, and in fact, that's all there will be, is absolutely nothing here in Illus's Hype Cave. Now, Illus doesn't have the advantage of the Titan's Mitts that we saw on inside of Spectacle Rock, and for that reason, Illus is probably going to be heavily constrained through this route, but we should get... no, he's not actually going to go for the 5-6 hint. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Illus is going to have to save and quit from digging game if they want to go somewhere else, whereas Magno is going to be able to wrap that in and here, go straight north. Yes, Illus will be able to mirror too, of course, but Magno can actually just use that drop and lift up the rock and head north.
Yeah, and because of what we know about that hook shot, this is going to lead to a much more natural Dark World progression for Magno. So Illus will very likely end up going directly to that Titan's Mitts very shortly. But Illus could decide to go to Kakariko to get to, Village of Outcasts, which, you can mirror here to do. If Illus does that, it might be quite a while before Illus gets the Titan's Mitts.
And Illus just did get the big key to Thieves Town, so minus the small key, Green Pen at Thieves is completely clickable. Ether from Big Game, that's not too bad.
3 digs for 1 of 3 coins. You could definitely hope for worse odds and still be faring well.
I'm surprised the Illus didn't dig a few more times. I'm trying to get a little bit more level. You're still not near power. Plus, you have a chest game to purchase as well.
Yeah, that's the part I'm not sure I understand is, if you know you don't have money for pod, that's kind of the thing you want to take care of. But Illus trying to go for broke, hoping to find the money along the way, and that might end up being the winning strategy as we get a magic bat check here.
Pixel south. So forgot to walk all the way north before using powder. That's handy. A full heart container. I don't have any of those. We have pot and turtlewakas lit up red crystals today.
Well, as we discussed before, Illus is going to take the Thieves Town route, or at least go to Village of Outcasts. This does require Illus to take the long way through the portal, as Magno, when the time comes, will be able to just use the better portal for the next trip into the Dark World. So Magno has a lot of options here for traversal. These flippers might end up being the critical thing. We haven't seen what Swamp Palace is, but we know that it's in a flipper-locked place, and that feels pretty likely to follow after.
Magno, of course, can also benefit with those mitts from being able to do some of Smith Chain if he wants to.
Yeah, we can really accomplish pretty much everything in this route. I don't think I would expect to see Magno go all the way to the purple chest, but I could definitely see returning the blacksmith.
Yeah, purple chest is a bit of a stretch at this point, but you could always do that after checking out Loathing and Thieves Down if you want. At this point, they're lacking so much in terms of progression that I think Thieves Town is a must-have.
Interesting. We are 2 for 2 on skipping out beyond 3.
$62 rupees isn't too bad, but I'm surprised they're not preparing for pod in case that's a thing.
I'm even more surprised by it from Magno, who just got the hint, and there's the flippers, by the way, in the brewery, but Magno just got the hint for the 5-6 being pod, so I'm even more surprised by the lack of rupee farm in there.
Still don't have logical death now in access, so either missing a root or a lamp to go ahead and get those myths, but we'll see how long it takes Illus to go up Death Mountain. Another heart piece for Magno, that's nice. Oh, hello, Simulator.
Yeah, not a bad place to get it either. If you're not feeling good about your Fire Sword blind for any particular reason, I think most people at this stage would be. Kina Samaria, a good backup.
Oh, and there's that money that Illus was hoping for too, so Illus is now in good shape.
Illus has been determined too big of a gamer to fail and has received his gamer bailout here in Thieves Town. Large influx of cash, keeping afloat. Illus now poised to do Palace of Darkness. However, we still want quite a bit more, maybe another 300 if we're going to do Zora as well.
Very true. I think Zora's on the bottom of your 2-check chain, but at the same time, you've got and Boots in Thieves Town. So you can combine Zora Thankful with Catfish. That's not too bad.
Well, that does put Illus in good shape as far as making up for that Titan's Mitts deficit. Magno did not have to do any of that and still entering into Thieves Town a bit behind, thanks to the extra checks afforded to the Mirror Titan's Mitts combo.
When a darn near got Pixel from Illus, but it's interrupted by that enemy right now. I think it's a good call from Illus, though, going deeper into Thieves' Town, because yes, you're orphaned with a big chest, but at the same time, you could otherwise flow clear and also turn in green pendant when you're up talking on your way to pod. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it definitely seems like everything lines up very nicely with that particular route. Illis having to watch out for some crickets here. That was a kind of scary, dicey room. Thankfully, red mail gonna keep us good.
Yeah, 2 hearts in green mail, 1 in blue, but with red, half heart, not too bad. Magno about to get well rewarded for going to stamp as well.
Yeah, and also of note, Magno had the mirror out and ready, so if we didn't find those boots there, I think Magno might have been prepared to nope out of here.
It's like it, but those boots make it pretty tempting to just go and continue.
It's like fear of missing out, but fear of missing out on FOMO. Like, you know, like, I already felt like I was going to miss something if I didn't do this, but now that I got boots, what else could I be missing?
Boots make you faster, but otherwise only 2 other logical checks. Magno gonna go ahead and cave through harmless and not harmless. So like, okay, that's hot. I can go and cave through that one. Not a bad call.
Well, speaking of our key situation, as we see the blind fight from Illus here going swimmingly as best as I can tell, we have not seen a ton of pod keys. We're missing a lot of keys in general, really. Very, very threadbare so far.
Seems to be, I think, a good call might be going through Skullwood's up ahead. You've got a small key, you can go out pretty well, so Skullwood seems like a pretty good little bit here as well.
Yeah, I mean, logically, of course, you're expected a handful of keys to do all the things in Skullwoods, but in practice, you can pretty much go anywhere in the dungeon without any small keys, besides the ones you find naturally under pots and enemies. So, I'm kind of surprised to see Illus going here first. This is a known key, so I don't blame him for that. But I kind of thought we were going to go directly into Skull. Hey, maybe this is the big key.
Okay, required keys, that's nice.
Yeah, and it's extra nice to take care of this early, because we definitely already have to go back to the area.
But we got some question in chat. I don't think Illus has the small or the ice rod. I think it could have been a tracker issue, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure we saw the ice rod, I just don't remember where.
Oh, chat saying see house, so thank you. I totally missed that.
For what it's worth, I saw it and then didn't say anything, so both of us on that one.
Yeah.
Kana Samaria at its best, hitting switches, making us move quickly. Illus finding that heart piece, saying, nope, see ya.
With that small key, you don't need to go steal the other ones, so at least it's able to find the skull was a little bit easier. There it was. Wait, where chat said it was.
Alrighty, Gibdos galore. Illus trying to clear out everything. Taking advantage of a good mirror spot. That's a bow.
It's a good find, and you've got that big key to Eastern Palace. You've got a little bit of pod access, so you've got excuse to go in that area.
Yeah, if you've got no fear about dark rooms, and probably don't at this stage of the tournament, you can pretty much do everything there, so both of those dungeons looking like a good combo.
Yep, a little bit to clean up left in the Eastern Palace. Got a small key to pod as well. So
So
there are some logical checks.
my question for you, Lana, is how many small keys do you need before you consider Palace of Darkness with these items?
I think I'm comfortable at one because you have access to right side two chests, you have the main one and the main floor, and you also have two more checks as well. So you're going to be in the eastern area anyway, so it is a pretty quick dip.
Ooh, there's another one.
That second small key will go ahead and get them all the way back.
I was starting to wonder if we're going to see anything like Catfish Zora, if there's the money for it, and then maybe like a pyramid on the way there. Like I get the feeling it makes sense to delay your Palace of Darkness as long as you have stuff along the way.
And if you're Magno, you do have an excuse to go ahead and hold off on it. You do have your mitts, you have hookshot, you have leer, so please step out. That is a good call too. And you could very well hit another pod here to about that now.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you. You're very likely to find something there. So many checks up in the mountain.
Still not logical. It is a call.
Hey, but I mean, interesting things going on in Palace of Darkness. We've never seen that before, and you know, if either of these two decide to pull the trigger and ends up being a critical find early, that could end up paying out dividends over the course of the rest of this race.
Certainly could, and you don't have any crystals at this point, so it is a pretty good excuse to go ahead and go here on the rest of Easter and go pod while you're there.
So it looks like Illus is going to take the whirlpool to head over and grab that hookshot off of Lake Hylia Island. A great time to do so. You're already in the neighborhood and you already have flippers. You could kern jump to get to this spot, but you can't mirror unless you have them.
Yeah, be a bit of a challenge at that point. And it does give Illus a good excuse to go ahead and go up Death Mountain if they want to before going to Eastern Pod. But of course, going to get all these flipper checks out of the way, except Zora because we still don't have money.
However, if you are a 300 IQ player and have managed to piece the puzzle together enough to know that this man under the bridge has a large sum of money, then this could look like a genius move. I am eagerly awaiting if this man here in this tent happens to only have a piece of heart, then that'd be heartbreaking.
To get that. Okay, Illus, I suspect is either going to pull a hand. No, that's a heart refill, so we're probably going up Death Mountain most likely. Magno giving us the check at Catfish, going to also be able to mirror check out some of the Zora area too.
Yeah, I like this choice from Magno. Does not give you the hook shot, which is unfortunate, but you can come back through the whirlpool, which is just fine. More importantly, you can get at least a scout of the Zora area, and maybe that ends up being a key you care about. But you also get Waterfall Cave out of this route, so you're not leaving a lot behind.
Old heart from Catfish, that's not too bad. And there's another pod small, so that's good.
You know, red potion not bad for free. Magno gonna pull that from the Waterfall Cave. With red mail, these hearts and free red potions available, we're in pretty good shape for health.
The small key on Zora ledge, so we can go and go grab that.
Wow, that Zora stood no chance. Out and gone.
Get punted. So far, no signs of Castle Tower small keys, so not too much to be concerned about for that key on Lumberjack yet.
That is our first TR small, and Magno not going to save and quit out of the domain, leaving Zora's to head back through that whirlpool, presumably, and get the hook shot, which is an interesting progression here.
Illus does see that those Titan Smiths is gonna go. Yeah, I could go ahead and route in this whole mountain. That's good.
Yeah, this is easily the thing about this route that helps Illus the most. Forsaking the earlier glove, obviously didn't know that it was here, but that allows for one really efficient pass through here, even with this fall in Spec Rock Cave. Oh, save and quit, that's interesting.
Yeah, when you fall, you may as well just save and quit and head east.
For a moment, I thought Illus was about to leave.
Just a bit faster. I mean, almost as fast since you got this. Go ahead and just warm up, but that's okay. Save and quit's still there.
We're covering new ground with both runners here. Magno get a quick peek at the probably vanilla piece of heart, and Illus immediately the Dark World Death Mountain.
Looks like a dark root check for Magno in the front of escape here. All sorts of items coming up on these Death Mountain for Illus. Master Sword. What's a good find? Big key of fire.
Yeah, that GT small and the Meyer big key, really all that we find here. Magno getting a Turtle Rock big key, it looked like.
Very good find.
A bit of an awkward place for both runners, too. Neither of them had any kind of lamp, any good reason to be going there early. And Magno taking advantage of the pyramid play to knock out two birds with one stone. Hopefully, only going into Turtle Rock once as a result.
Like, could be getting that hook shot as well.
I particularly like this method to get under the bridge, as Illus, on the other hand, heading through Super Bunny Cave, probably going to get the hookshot cave here before taking a peek at what Turtle Rock requires.
Most efficient way to check Holo is to be near there, so that's very good routing. Turtle Rock, we have Quake today, which we have not seen yet.
You know, but when they do find them, thanks to the shoes that we've acquired, they will be quaking in their boots.
Evil Shield. And
Hey, we're quaking in our boots.
key under the doormat.
I guess in that case, you'd probably say that more to like the hoverer who doesn't require that hook shot and decides to actually quake in their boots. Alrighty, enough of that though. Illus has what's required to get into the dungeon. No fire rod found, but logically possible fire rod within?
One check, no small keys, but you can check one thing if you want to go in. It's not a huge time investment, so it could be a good call.
I just kind of feel like you have to. I mean, you've come all this way.
Exactly. So what's another 30 seconds? Technically, I'm no big here, small key prepare. Oh, but what's to stop you from going into here and just beating the whole thing too?
Yeah, crazier things have been done here on this channel and this tournament. There's that Master Sword from Magno, as Illus gonna at least try.
Note, Magno does have a TR small, so they go a little bit further into Turtle Rock, whereas Illus was just kicked out after getting that.
I'll say, if we end up getting a Turtle Rock Fire Rod, because, you know, that's one of the spicier scenarios, it's going to be really hard for Illus to make that up.
Terrapira, no vacate, no small key, but you can still get 3 checks in, so let's do it.
And on top of that, we're currently short a book, which means that we would have to isolate the ether tablet up here. We'll see about this small key here. Illus getting a desert key. That's a good one.
But no way in the desert quite yet.
Markedly less enthusiasm over that one. Yo, kind of hype though that Illus gets that just second try Herapod freehand.
Oh, and Magno gets the small key to Hira at that little cave there. I always forget what that cave is called. Oh, Spiral, I think.
Yes.
So Magno's going to be able to check basement in Hira. Oh wait, never mind. Not going to be able to know fire source yet.
Yeah, that'll hurt. You hate to see it. Illus getting a pendant here from Moldorm, provided we have a successful fight. 1 smackdown with the hammer, 2 to go. Nearly there, baiting out the turn, and will be enough to get Illus to complete this dungeon. We do not have that small key, as aforementioned by Lana Bean, so a piece of heart it'll be, and a red power pendant, if I recall correctly. Or is that wisdom? That's wisdom, isn't it? I always forget because Link to the Past does it backwards from the rest of the franchise. Alright, no stones left unturned, particularly the last one in this cave, Spike Cave. Illus going all the way to the back, taking advantage of invulnerability items and even a potion, I think, if possible, if necessary. But this should be enough. We have half magic. Inching ever so slightly closer towards the Zora cache. We only saw one of our runners actually go all the way to the domain. Magno here, about to open up TR portal. I'm very curious to see if that 1 key will make a difference here. And at the same time, I believe we're going to see Illus head towards the pyramid at minimum. Maybe we'll get the Turtle Rock big key out of the back of Escape, and then possibly a Palace of Darkness play. Well, judging from Magno keeping that Cane of Samaria out prior to the chest, it looks like Magno fully intends to see what this dungeon offers. We're going to head back towards Chain Chomp Room. Not a lot of health to work with, kind of dangerous. He acquired. Chain Chomp's dodged. Oh, jeez. Positively nothing. Alright, well, besides the time it takes to go into the Chomp Room, not a whole lot lost here for Magno. Certainly going to be glad to find out that the Turtle Rock keys have not been easier than this so far. The Palace of Darkness play we've been talking about for quite a while now. 3 keys to 4. Illus walking in on a 1 key deficit. But is that enough? And it's a pod first chest Shooter room lamp. You'll love to see it. I'll be honest with you, that's the one that probably hurts me the most. Magno attempting to get a super speed off of the hook shot ends up taking a death, which will be a loss of that fairy.
Gosh darn it, I didn't realize I was muted again. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Apologies for inadvertently stepping on your voice there.
Oh, you're good. Just coughing periodically, so I just mute really quick because sometimes I forget to unmute.
All right, well, we've seen Illus quite a bit further ahead in terms of overall scouting the world, but Magno's more thorough approach has yielded more keys. So Illus could potentially run into some issues here in Palace of Darkness after Eastern. I gotta think Magno's heading there next.
I think so, and Pod finally gave us our logical bets as well, so that's nice.
Moldorm has finally fallen for Magno as Illus is about to dive right into the Armos fight. Set up well, should have a fast kill here.
Nicely done. We'll pick up at the end, but not bad. Get some much coming in. Compass to Swamp Palace. Thanks, Gabe.
Something I feel like I've never understood about A Link to the Past. If the compass is supposed to point to the boss room, does that mean that every single, boss is in some way magnetic?
B.
Like, is this secretly like a futuristic dystopian thing going on, and it just looks like it's, fantasy era? I'm very confused by this.
Magno making another play. Oh, did Magno not get that big key on? Okay. That big key for Eastern line over here.
Yeah, I gotta say, that worked out pretty nicely. Magno would have regretted that.
Was that a vanilla pod, key and pod? Unheard of in Peaceland, my gosh.
Illus in prime position right now to consider a Hammer Yump. We'll probably just open up the door here and come back for a north side jump. But the Hammer Yump here gonna save a key and gives us the rest of the items here in this side of the dungeon.
And this basement pod will give him enough money to go ahead and go north, check out Catfish Mirror, and get all those sword checks out of the way too if he chooses to do so.
All the while, all of the Smith chain checks going on here for Magno. Surprised to see Illus spend this key. That will yield the flute. That's big.
That is huge right now. That's possibly minor access. You've got the big key. It's logically not beatable without 3 small keys, but who cares about logic?
Pause buffers galore. Illus trying to get this hammer jump. Setup looking good for the bomb, and I believe we're on the right pixel. Love to see it.
Yep. Magno. See Magno missing that flute either. He's going to actually go in the pot with one extra key, so it does have an excuse to go ahead and check that chest.
Yeah, and I would be very surprised to not see the the vanilla big key chest also get checked. That we should probably expect to see that from Magno.
Simply, he does have one extra small key over Illus, but at the same time, you may like to save one small key to come back later to clear it.
Yeah, valid point. So, I mean, I think maybe defensible in both directions. Magno definitely needs that flute. We are also looking for a fire rod. Those are the two critical things that we know about as of yet.
It's a useful map for swamp. You can tell if you need to look for that swamp small here anytime you want. Still little castle tower small, so that small key in Lumberjack still nowhere in logic though.
The castle tower smalls are always vanilla in this particular mode.
Oh, right. We discussed that at the beginning.
That being said, though, I mean, if you're herding for a small, do you take that time to do that? I get the feeling that's a last key location if it's going to happen.
They're definitely a lot closer to where they were than Split before, but not quite yet. Could very well just be a buyer small or a nice small or something like that. It was almost for my or so window. We're not able to check that yet.
Of course, if our fortunes are to pan out as they have already, this would be an excellent place to find bombos. And Boomerang not going to be quite it.
Still, best rag.
So that gives us Desert Palace and Spec Rock Cave, or not Spec Rock Cave, what am I saying? The Checkerboard Cave immediately if you're off the flute for Illus.
Don't have a desert big yet, but we do have that small to check right side. Magno is going in the Palace of Darkness as well.
You know, I'm almost surprised Illus didn't pick up those 10 arrows on the torch. Running kind of low. I mean, there are plenty you can get in this dungeon, so good game knowledge can definitely make it worth it to skip that.
Here's some of that money we're looking for. There we go. So far, these deaths are coming up pretty empty. Another pod small. Thanks, game.
Well, that leaves one pod small out in the wild in places we haven't looked yet.
It's from the big chest in Eastern Palace. Not too much to worry about there. Illus about to get that after Swamp Palace.
Seems poised to go to the Dark World here. Not exactly sure where this is going to lead us.
They do have one check in Swamp available to this. Not sure what else we're gonna check though.
Yeah, if you end up doing the swamp front chest, you were probably in a big feels bad moment. Illus is going to nope away from that for the time being, but we're definitely closing in on it. Not a lot left.
just going up to the catfish here. And Magno pulling out to Birdo Strats on Armo Spellbound. Takes it. The first crystal at 53-53. His first crystal, I guess Illus picked up his just a little bit ago.
Illus here is going to get the catfish check, but that will naturally lead into the Zora area. With a key on the ledge, hard to imagine you don't just go and grab both. Well, Magno with 4 keys on the way through here for Palace of Darkness. Still going to save a key off of that front door. We don't have everything to afford to waste one. Judging by the looks of things, because of how many keys we know about out in the wild, we did find that flute there, which is our current access to desert. I believe that means that the pod key in desert means we were supposed to be in desert by book instead of the flute.
Most likely. I think that is probably accurate. I think, well, because he was 100% right there.
I'll tell you what, if I were in this race, I would have a brain-melting moment trying to piece that together. So a lot of props to Magno and Illus today. Folks, if you haven't already, these are definitely top contenders in the field. They made it to the round of 64. You should check them out. Give them a follow on their personal Twitch channels. Show them some love for putting on a really fun-to-watch performance for us today. Very grateful to have a chance to talk about them here in this. And best of luck to the two of them for this race. It's looking like it's not so easy to call just yet.
Yeah, so far so pretty much even. Hasn't been one decision done by one person that wasn't done by the other one for sure a while. Logic of this game is so weird. Sometimes you don't think of stuff like that. But technically that Desert Small was 6 pot key locks, so yeah, our book is lying out somewhere pretty available. Pretty available somewhere at least.
An opportunity for Magno to pick up a few extra rupees here, as we gather, I believe both were pieces of heart. Magno will end up with that flute shortly thereafter and have all of the reasons to start exploring around with it. That lack of Bombo is really hampering our Misery Mire journey, and in Key Sanity, Mire is a much more valuable place to be.
It is lots of available chests, and even if you have 0 or 1 small cube, you could pull here the dungeon. Actually, for us, missing that Bombos.
Healthy chunk of pause buffers here for Magno, but a successful hammer yump it is on the first go. The two of them about on par. Illus turning in that purple chest. We've already seen this prior from Magno. But that big key is certainly a breath of relief if you plan on getting everything in Tower of Pharaoh. Stinks if you've already been there, like both of these runners.
Illus hasn't been to Spiral yet, so still no small key there either. But checking out that first check in Swamp Palace, it seems for Illus.
Will say this will probably hurt really bad if it ends up being Lumberjack Swamp Small.
I'd say it'll hurt almost as bad if it ends up being Hero Small or Basement or Big Chest right now. Imagine Magno's next play is going to be same as Illus over my area.
Now, I gotta say, one of the things I've always found to be a bit unrealistic about A Link to the Past, and yes, I am going to make this soapbox, speech, the flute, aka the ocarina, and the jingle that you play when you warp with it is way too fast for any human fingers playing such an instrument. I don't know if any of you ever tried playing one. It is not that easy. Link makes it look too easy. I don't believe it.
Maybe it's a pre-recorded or green tech. Push a button when the ocarina plays the sound.
The techno conspiracy of A Link to the Past continues. I'm with you.
So as pointed out in chat, that small key on Lumberjack is looking a little bit more tempting at this point. If it is Swamp Palace, then you're looking good, and Swamp is a crystal, so going to be required. Oh, and so let's go back up here before getting that small key. Uh-oh.
Just want to take a moment to thank Illus for doing the sword climb on Death Mountain. Feels good, looks good. Love to see it.
See, Willie's gonna go get that big chest, and you're probably go straight over to small, or a spiral to get that small key to be like, oh, what?
Yeah, the upside to doing this check now here in Tower of Hera is if you're decent at a Harapot, you can get there really quickly.
Hey, Illus. And Illus is about to get their bad news too.
I'll confess, I didn't see that big chest.
It was 10 arrows, I think, or no, it was $20.
Oh, wonderful.
Just like so many things, it was $20. Yeah, Illus not getting Spiral Cave, so that's interesting. They're going back to Turtle Rock with that one extra key.
Of course, as we know, is a fruitless endeavor.
It does make me wonder if Illus's written off Spiral Cave is already looked at.
So, just taking tally and inventory here of the things we need in order to complete this seed. We are aware of a Palace of Darkness big key that we need. We need a Swamp Palace small. From the looks of things, we don't know the status of Ice Palace, Misery Mire, or Eastern Palace. And we should have everything we need for those anyway.
Missing a Fire Rod as well.
Oh, we might need that Bombos.
Yeah, Fire Rod. Bombos, if Mire is a crystal, for sure.
Yeah, so between those two items, just keys pretty much.
And Magno is going to have that option of Hero Basement, and Illus does remember Spiral Cave as a thing. At Magno electing to get that $20 first. And Illus curses at the super. I was just there, what the heck?
Hey, sometimes it's not the game you're playing, you just play yourself.
Illus is climbing up the mountain, yeah. Already cleared out Spike Cave, so you know what this is. Right to the basement.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom skipping this now that you have so few things left to do when you're here. So here we are again with Illus. As Magno going to get the basement check here ahead of Illus. Been a little while, I think, since we've seen Magno gathering information new for us.
Tough when Aga is starting to be pretty good for Lumberjack.
Well, I would say this is a co-op coffee break, but I think they're just passing each other on tea time at this point.
Thanks, Gabe.
That is a really dirt-y location.
Well, shh. I get that. We're gonna go dig it.
Alright, well, whatever it is we find in the grove here, we're going to have to dust it off and hopefully end up with some real progression, or else Aghanim we go.
Another big 20. Oh, is it swap? Oh, no, it's not.
I mean, still interesting, but come on.
Gosh, what else do we have besides Aga at this point? Zora, I guess. Yeah, Zora's wrong with the check, I think it's them. Or did Illus check that?
Yeah, we did get Zora. That ended up being just a big 20, which was super rough, but it is knowledge. And Illus is still heading around to grab that shovel check, almost dying in the process. May end up seeing a save and quit just to get some health.
Here we are, now on 16 of the seed, and both winners are proudly going up Aga now. Save and quit from Illus, we're going back in the pod, it seems.
Yeah, so we didn't end up seeing the vanilla big key chest, and that is a potential difference maker if this lumberjack key ends up not being critical. Illus might be making the play of the game here.
See, this could be a deciding point.
I mean, even if it's a big key for this dungeon, that would still be huge. It would also be a vanilla big key, which would be pretty spicy.
That is true. The issue is that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that this check here is still 6 key locked, so probably not.
Alrighty, and Chad is alleging that we had already checked this, so I guess I'm a double wrong liar.
I don't remember ever checking that. But Chad has many more eyes than I do.
That is indeed true. Same. But that is a nice head start for Magno here into the tower. Circle of pots cleared. Moving on towards mini gauntlet heading up.
It's like the 1,000 eye troll order, you know. Just too many eyes for us.
Well, all things considered, Magno did make pretty good time through the tower. Didn't have too many issues to speak of. Illus starting off a little slower. Didn't have as smooth of a gold guards room early on in the tower. See if he ends up gaining any time back on Magno.
It's a couple minutes behind, not too bad. Well, we know Cloud 6 wouldn't be a small key. So, Swamp. I think it has to be a Swamp small at this point to be useful.
Aghanim pattern so far not being too rough. Of course, first of every cycle, going to be a guaranteed reflectable shot. Out of the 6 we need, I think we've seen 3 total blue balls. It could be worse. Not great yet.
Not too bad. Oh, there's another.
Yeah, we're bordering on annoying at this point, but thankfully it's the same for both runners, so 5 not going to phase Magno, provided this is required. And I think at this point it is.
It's got to be a small on that, because I don't think any other small is going to be useful. We've checked just about everywhere.
I'm not even sure if we've seen 6 or 7 at this point, maybe 8. This is a rough one.
Chat, where are we at? My gosh.
9? I mean, somebody's keeping better count than me, right?
I was watching some of Illus's climb. I wasn't paying just close attention to Aga. 7 blue balls. Ouch.
Yeah, 7, of course, only being roughly half of the actual limit that you could ever have, assuming you hit all available shots. Because shots 2, 3, and 4 of the 5-hit cycle are guaranteed, or are 50-50 shot of a blue ball or regular attack, the math bears out that you can only ever get up to 15 blue balls as long as you hit the available shots. Of course, it's an astronomically large number, odd difference, so not unless you're in the 50,000s, I guess, attempts of, going for it, are you likely to find it. Well, critical moment here for Magno. For both of them, really. But we'll find out first on the left. Magno uncovering this small key behind Aghanim 2. It is...
Oh, okay. That is further into Turtle Rock.
How much further?
That is Big Chest, that is Mimic Cave. Ololu might think.
Wow. So, I mean, a couple of locations, and because they don't have to be one specific item, a lot of potential available to us here. That does, unfortunately, make things super linear, so Illus's opportunities to catch back up here are constrained. If there's multiple routes to go to from Turtle Rock, there's an opportunity.
So when he climbs it now, they call the cow. I'm surprised Magno does enter Dark World from the lower part, though. I think it's a little bit faster than you would have all done if you already had TR open.
True battle of patience here for Illus, who appears to have gained a little bit of time back here in the tower. Now in the Dark World, after the Aga 2 fight, mirroring out to figure out what in the world that key is and maybe ponder the meaning of climbing Death Mountain.
Well, Illus did finally go to the Sora area, so it does have that key that Magno had going in, so it is going to be all kind of on keys after getting small. I mean, this could very well be a fire rod, it could be a small. Could be a bomb bounce.
Either way, definitely a tense moment for Magno. I'd be very surprised if Magno was not feeling at least some pressure at this point.
And so, same with Illus, really. I mean, there's really not much to avoid what they've already done. The only question is they're asking themselves is that their opponent go to Mega Tower NBC.
And of course, this bleeds all the way into the early parts of the race. I mean, we saw Illus attempting a kind of risky Kakariko skip, and Magno finding those Titans mitts faster. Both of them probably felt like they had some advantages and disadvantages.
Neither to get use.
Yeah, cheeky use of it gonna yield some bombs that we're not gonna bother picking up because we have plenty to work with. Magno probably about to give us a Mimic Cave check here in just a moment.
Forgetting that once I needed to go in Tiara to head towards Tower of Hera.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since I've seen personally the ether used on Hokuboku like that. You call it a flash in a pan moment.
Interesting to see if Illus decides to check Lava Chest, because if the game does want to be checking Lava Chest, there's going to be a quick small cube for Magno.
Bit of a bottle tease here. Certainly not the thing you care to find right now.
As far as the game is concerned, this is as far as it wants you to go. There it is. Picture swap small. The game fully expects you to spend that small key at Lava Chest, though, so Laser Bridge, probably nothing, but it could be something.
Swamp Small here. Get your Swamp Small here. Hope you weren't waiting all game for this here. We teased several progression items leading you there here. And Magno almost dying on the maze, actually.
Gosh, be careful, Magno. Yeah, red mail, but they'll still hurt.
Double ether all over the sky. What does it mean?
Flash photography thing. No flash photography.
Well, we are certainly disregarding the rules here as Illus and Magno leaving no trace behind. Magno finding a Skull Woods big key looked like it was going to be exciting. Definitely wasn't. And we'll see if this out of logic laser bridge does anything more than shield us from the truth.
Evil shield.
A small part of me wonders if the lava chest ended up being something of critical importance that we left behind.
The worst part, you could end up finding a better tier small in swamp to give you that fire rod off of Lava Chest. Or in this case, logically access to Laser Bridge. Actually, you need to find two, I guess.
But of course, the potential to skip a lot of stuff if it is behind a fourth key is gigantic, really. I don't think you actually open it if you're playing this seed, but would be a crazy scenario. Well, I think the lack of a diverging option from Turtle Rock gives Magno a commanding position for this race. Magno could still end up getting tripped up if part of Swamp ends up looking like we're nearly done and you gamble with it. But I think Thoroughness and Magno should have a pretty clear path to victory.
Side, for instance. I think you're still far enough from the build mode. You gotta just go and take care of left side.
And I suppose the reason I don't consider a foregone conclusion that Magno is that far ahead, but certainly in a position to control his own destiny, as the linearity of these things has not provided an opportunity for Illus to gain a lot of time. Magno, of course, could still be out executed, but this is pretty difficult to make up when it's a straight path from start to finish at this point. It at least appears that way. Um, you know, if we end up finding Bombos and not Fire Rod, that gives us some opportunity for some extra divergence. It depends on how much we find here in Swamp, really.
We did end up finding Pod 6, so chance of the finding a Pod Big Key pretty quick are pretty high as well. I believe that puts the lamp and logic. Wait, no, that's not right because lamp was locked down. Okay.
Yeah, Lamp in the shooter room of Palace of Darkness, a rough spot. Both of our runners didn't find it for quite a while. That's a pod big key. Both runners will definitely stumble into that. There's really not much of a chance you miss it.
There's that fire rod.
And neither of them have really any shot of missing that either in any kind of routing for the seed. So Magno in a good spot. We don't know yet whether or not Misery Mire is a required crystal as far as I can tell. So that Bombo is still looming over our heads.
The game hands us a map. Not really going to be able to do much there.
Wow.
We're good now. We're good.
All right, left side swamp skippable. Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see, a reconsideration of left side if you miscount keys in some way or think that you're short. And I wouldn't be surprised if Illus decides to full clear. I don't think you expect to get 3 on the path to Argus, and the math doesn't really bear out making the assumption. But here we are, Magno at the boss.
You're looking for TR3, so you're still definitely looking for at least one small key.
Thing is, it's not like there's a ton of places you can find it. If it's not here on Argus, that left side looks pretty appealing to go back for.
Side could simply be another minor small key, though.
And from the looks of things, Illus is not going to check left side first, so if you were hoping to get an answer that isn't Argus, we're not going to find out right away. Bit of an awkward second phase of Argus here, as we see Illus also doing a diver down. Ice Palace map will give us some information here. Not that it's going to change where we're heading. I think we're heading there anyway.
Ice, unless it's a pendant. If it's a pendant, then you go straight to fire.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to get a map check immediately from Magno with that new information and get a clear indication of what's up. And Ice Palace is going to be our destination.
Very nice, for sure. Does Illus go back in the swamp left side and doesn't have anything required? Magno moved wild. His head to be skull buds, looks like.
All things considered, relatively comparable Argus fights so far between the two of them. Illus has a little bit of opportunity to gain some time from Magno on the second phase. First phase was pretty close to identical. There's the time save.
Magno remembering, oh my gosh, I've got a big key here, don't I?
Maybe the farthest reaching sword spin hitbox I have ever seen from Magno. That is a TR small. So definitely going to walk out from that. Got to absolutely head right to the boss at this point.
Yeah, probably trying to help to not return the turtle. I can tell you are going for your seventh crystal though.
Plenty of keys to work with. Magno gets a skip, killing a Gibdo if we get that key there, but we'll have to kill it on the way through. Doesn't have the time to waste on a second attempt, and I don't blame him.
Let's go. Say you spot this Magno.
Magno missing a torch here. These are the little time bleeds that, you know, I mean, we saw chat talking about it a lot, how Illus is perceived to be a better execution player. Magno has definitely given us reasons to doubt whether or not this is a straightforward setup for Magno to win. This is, of course, game 3. Magno has taken a game off of Illus, but Illus looking to try and fight back into, you know, an opportunity to win this race, and certainly playing like it.
Like their tournament lives are at stake, and that is the case. But right now, Magno obviously does have maybe a 2-minute lead. But fights like this could close the gap a little bit. There we go. Moth not quite ready initially, but picking up the pace there.
Yeah, when we put it all into perspective, of course, a successful fight, certainly not terrible. But that was not fast. I mean, fast is much shorter. So, I mean, that's 10, 15, 20 seconds that are potentially bled. And you do that across several boss fights, you're back in this race if you're Illus.
Exactly.
Another small opportunity for some divergence. If you're feeling very bold, you may skip this chest that Magno is going for here, the bridge chest. I think it makes a lot of sense to check everything that you're coming across. GT small, not critical at this juncture, but certainly helpful as we don't have that big key until we find it somewhere in the dungeon. So you want a lot of those keys.
My assumption at this point, if I'm a runner, is that desert is probably your third crystal or third pendant. So you gotta. I think at this point, it almost makes more sense just to go about everything.
And that appears to be the case for Magno, who is heading back towards Palace of Darkness and Eastern right now. I suppose just Palace of Darkness. We've already done Eastern. Okay, Magno with a 12 of 14 counter and 3 keys. Fun little combo there. Going to head straight back to the boss, it looks like.
Good call. Gotta clean up the dungeons you can. If you happen to pick up a desert map or something on the way, that's good. But with the lack of a desert big key, I think that's probably just hanging on the GT.
Well, for the first time in a bit of a while, we're seeing some divergence here. Magno, of course, clearing out Helmasaur King with this boss fight upcoming. Illus jumping right to Ice Palace. Depending on how well you're reading the scenario and whether or not you think Desert is a crystal or a pendant, you might not be doing a whole lot in this dungeon. Oh, Magno's ready to start whacking away at the Helmasaur King. 17 smacks to the face, of course, enough to close out the first phase of the attack. Phase 2 with Master Sword, you probably prefer your bow and arrow, it looks like, and a couple of slashes. Magno putting together a hop, skip, and a jump to finish this one. Illus just became literate, it looks like.
Neurological access to that pot.
Yeah, this has become quite convoluted, hasn't it?
A little bit. Not bad.
Where we're going, we don't need logic.
Yeah. Suggestion.
Well, I do gotta ask you though, Lana. I mean, you find that book there, and how nervous does that make you feel about those tablets?
Not too bad. At this point, there's no indication of how to solely that much of the right now. Tablets are could be just an extra minor small key. Yeah, I think at this point, got to assume Meyer is a crystal. You have your production go on this month. The counter to that would be finding the desert big key in Meyer. That would stink.
Yeah, so we do still have some potential for zaniness in terms of the remaining logic. The lack of knowledge about the remaining crystal is really the thing that's preventing us from just 100% go moding at this point.
Yeah, always that slight chance.
Old Stare getting a little bit out of hand, out of the corner at least, but Illus taking full advantage of the half magic. Going to gather a full heart container from this. At 13 hearts, red mail in a durable position. Oh, map. Map of Meyer.
Nation, this is our last crystal.
All right, well, that confirms the Magno's on the path to glory as far as go mode goes. Knows that it's going to be Ice Palace, Desert, by exclusion, a pendant.
Yeah.
And that gives a very clear path forward. That is Silvers.
Wow, good find. I guess you could say that's official go mod for Magno as well.
So as mentioned in chat regarding those silvers, it's very unlikely that Illus misses those. Of course, the knowledge that makes it official go mode on the right side off of the big chest may be a little bit less likely. I think a lot of runners still continue the automatic route of going to the back. But I think Illus either way ends up doing the rest of this dungeon, even if he doesn't find that map. We'll end up to the boss at minimum.
So I think he's going to find most silvers for Illus, and you just don't pass that up.
Yeah, too easy of a location. So Illus going to get those silvers right now, as Magno is already to the boss here in just a moment. One dungeon difference. Illus has really done a lot to close the gap. There aren't a lot more things to do that can help close the gap as far as equipment goes. So I guess it depends on whether or not we stumble across a convenient tempered, our GT routing, and at that point how well we can play with our gear through the endgame. Shaping up to be a close finish.
Two things going on as well. Illus does get the chest and the big chest, or they gives the map of the big chest, so going straight to the boss. And number two ends up going to Vitreous with extra arrows over Magno, so going to make up more time for that.
Also, that was a Turtle Rock small key. Did I just miss Magno skipping that?
I don't think he hook shot to that spot.
Alright, well, big shout outs to chat keeping us well apprised of the scenario when we miss these things. I believe Magno has plenty to get to Trinex, and I missed the scenario in Turtle Rock earlier. Silver Arrow fight going very well for Illus, who definitely nails the zero cycle.
This is incredibly close because you have Illus who just needs to go clean up Hot and then go back and finish Turtle Rock, and you got Magno who's still got to go up Ice Palace.
And for what it's worth, Ice Palace definitely a quick place to be. Get to Helmasaur only, not bad, and even by comparison.
Pretty darn quick.
One of the upsides that Magno has to work with here is that there's really no incentive besides a sword to be checking things. So Magno can pretty much skip everything but the H room. I mean, I don't think he really... The H room and the big key room, as those are the ones that are just too easy to get to skip. So I would expect a little bit less time gain for Illus in this particular segment. I have never seen someone get stuck in that way in the wall. That was bizarre. Maybe I spoke too soon. Nevertheless, Magno will end up making it through the path here, so gonna check a couple more on the way to Cold Stare, presuming a good fight. Should be in good position to head back up to Turtle Rock, and we'll play a GG game, it looks like.
This is going to be a tight game.
A very nice spin stair clip right there. So Magno ends up getting a Meyer key. We'll check the big chest, it looks like. Or doesn't have a big key. Just had the hook shot out. Not a lot of separation between these two going in the boss fight. And Magno's fight can be faster. Illus has good equipment for killing Helmasaur, though.
Difference would be pretty small. Probably 45 seconds, if that.
Good sword spin, good fire rod shots. Getting a little bit away, but does burn through pretty quickly. I would not say there is a significant difference in those Cold Stare fights. Magno might have been slightly faster, but not by much.
Brains, maybe. With that, I get killed. We're going to be forced to go ahead and mirror.
Yep, the cruel fate. You can't just save and quit the way you want to.
Oh.
Alright, and a solid Helmasaur King fight for Illus, who is about to gather crystal number 6 here and make his way up to Turtle Rock, right on, hot on Magno's heels.
Let's check. These runners are just going to be able to go straight to Trinex.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to stop for. I can't imagine either of them are going to stop for anything along the way. If you were going to gather a potion, that was your last opportunity. And looks like neither of these two are too worried about that. With the red that they have, one of them has a fairy. I believe it's Illus. And, you know, red mail, 13, 14 hearts. I think we're in good space.
I think Magno has a berry as well as red potion fire.
Kind of surprised to see Illus here taking the left side climb.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That being said, if this is a a skip of the tablet that might have produced a sword, that could have been huge. I kind of feel violated by that. Like, I feel so baited.
Right? You're just like, oh, we're gonna check a tab. No. Being shot is never fun.
Magno entering the first pipe there right at 140. Let's see if we can measure some of the gap here off of that. From a pretty sizable advantage the Magno had shortly, a little bit of mishaps going on here, and this gap is closed considerably. I would say that Magno is almost a whole dungeon ahead earlier, but Illus has really played well.
Yeah, no kidding.
Putting this at another virtual high five in a place where you don't want one, in the leader's shoes. We're less than half a minute apart.
There's currently a 16.5-second lead for Magno. You know what? With as fast as this Trinex fight will be, I think it might be about time to start playing an early little game.
Yeah, of course, it's whose GT big key is it anyway, where the locations are made up and the points don't matter. Go ahead and guess which of those 23 particular dungeon locations a big key could be. And yes, in key sanity at that. Go ahead and throw your number in. Let us know what you think. If you're feeling kind of lucky. Well, do you? What about you, Lon?
Go for 8 today. How about you?
I am feeling 13. But not in, like, age, but, like, big key. That came out kind of weird. I'm expecting 13 today.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Magno needs a clean Trinex fight.
Yeah, pause buffering between to get those menus, the smart route, as you really don't want to waste any extra magic, even with half magic. You want to put yourself in a position where you at least have the first head down magic efficiently. That way you can burn more of it on the second one. Magno did alright with it, but Illus, with no ice, probably going to be a little bit of a time save here in phase 1.
Illus is putting quick work to track back Seeker. Oh gosh, be careful, Magno. Okay, that lead is now 6 seconds.
Alrighty, folks, I've dumped all of my stocks into 11 to 13 guesses. I hope I've crashed the entire thing. But yes, we are simultaneous crystals at the moment. Magno with a hard to spare, trying to fight off Illus to stay in this tournament.
Anybody's race at this point, and it could very well be decided by GT routing here. So we're going to go off on Magno's number, since he will be the first to enter GT, but not by much.
Yeah, by my count, a 3 or 4 second difference at this point. Chat pointing out that the health refill animation for Magno actually cost a significant and relevant amount of time. Alrighty, hope your guess was a good one, because that's the closing of it. Here we go.
Less than a
Channel
3
points.
second lead.
And at this point, they are following each other's footsteps. 10 arrows for check number 1. Thieves small for check number 2. That fear allayed, and there's the split. Number 3 skipped over a small key of some kind of destiny, but not ours today. Or being a map, Desert Palace, the information we inferred but did not know, 5 rupees. And 6 and 7 were interesting, but they're not quite as good as Illus's 3rd, which ends up being the big key. We'll get an actual prediction count for the folks at home playing with the prediction game once Magno finds it. But Illus is booking it up the tower. That is it for him. He wants out of that basement.
Has taken a commanding lead at this point.
Alrighty, well, so if we're still counting here, that's 7 so far for Magno. Or I suppose 8 with the Lonely Firebar room. Yeah. 9 with a small key for GT.
Nice place for a GT small to be.
Rando room producing money for 10, B bottle 11, a tempered sword for 12, and a mushroom for 13. Sword is a big deal for Magno, who has taken the wrong path in GT. You definitely want to get that along the path if you guess wrong. At this point, though, the remaining separation, kind of a big deal.
Yep, the longer Magno goes left, the bigger this lead becomes for Illus.
Blanked out there. That's 14 for Magno. Yeah, I think so. Silver Arrow's Armos 2 fight on ice. Magno doing just fine. However, Illus is nearly at torches, closing in on the top of the tower.
That's where some of that money was hiding.
Yeah, cash money in contents, but not in progression for the remainder of this race. Magno, running out of options, heads to the east side of the dungeon. Would be rough to end up doing the tile room. It looks like he is prepared to go to the full right first, as Illus is at torches too.
Good call for sure.
I think it's an interesting choice here for Illus to not open those 2 chests. They're pretty quick to get, and a sword is a pretty significant time save. Defensible, for sure. I was just surprised to not see any of these get opened.
Good thing so. Opening those chests takes a few seconds, and the tempered could save a minute.
Alrighty, well, if you had guessed 18 or in the neighborhood of it based on the predictions, then you won some channel points. All of mine, actually. Rip. Now that's Moldorm 2 for Illus, who is just a little bit further from continuing on through this tournament. There's the remaining chest opened, despite skipping the other ones. Illus did not get paid out very well for that.
Station antioxidants.
Well, Aga 2 here for Illus. The nerves have got to be running high for both of them. Even in Key Sanity, you kind of expect your opponent to be done in short order. 2-hour race is not uncommon for the mode, but given a lot of the linearity early on, it's pretty easy to think that your opponent's close to done.
Much agree. You've done pretty much everything, and you've got to assume your opponent's in the same boat with nobody having got done yet.
And of course, it's not over until the dot done. Illus here having a really good Aga 2 fight, to be honest. Good reaction for getting the triple and then closing out 2-1. As those are some pretty difficult patterns. But Illus has a Master Sword. Potential to fail. No magic refills available on hand if things go awry. So now it's up to Illus, and Illus controls his own destiny, whether or not he advances to the round of 32. Well, if you're cheering him on, get your hype in chat. I'm sure by this point we're pretty close to the finish line. It's kind of a nerve-wracking moment for anybody, and Master Sword Ganon, not something that you want to be faced with in this situation.
Particularly, but at least you have silvers. Magno has some shoes on. Right, but made it through just fine.
Yep, no damage taken until just now. Gonna end up using some cape to try and get some extra spins here while they're convenient against the wall. Great strategy for Master Sword fight.
Ultimate wall that conserves some magic.
Yep, as our health is not really a concern with the fairy and red potion available to us, the magic being really the only thing we care about. Still some potential for things to go awry on that front, but Illus has preserved enough to be pretty comfortable with silvers.
Magic, a third of your magic left. Yeah, you're in pretty good shape. You basically have almost a full bar at this point of Reckoning Magic.
No torch glitch, not required, but certainly nice. In a good spot for potentially a triple here? Almost.
Key to Illus.
Alrighty, well, Illus gonna listen through the fanfare, breathe a quick sigh of relief, hover the hand over the mouse, cross that bridge, and hit the GG. Folks, congratulate Illus, who has managed to make it into the round of 32 with an official race time .gg time of 1 hour, 51 minutes, and 32 seconds. GG.
Gee.
Alright, well, join us as we continue to cheer on Magno as he nails a really nice triple here in Aga 2. Same one we saw from Illus. See if we can get a good response to the, weird pattern. That particular triangle was difficult to navigate. And looks like we get a double here, and that'll be just one extra phase. Should be able to close this out nice and smooth. Links to both of these runners in the chat. Looks like we got the bot back up and running. You can find Magno at twitch.tv magnohato and Illus24 on Twitch. Definitely recommend you follow these two, as I doubt this is the only thing they do in terms of Zelda Randomizer. And they're pretty cool people too. Just show them some love for putting on a great race for us today.
Great.
And as we have Magno jump into the Ganon fight, would like to also take a moment to thank SpeedGaming for hosting this race, and of course Relkin for doing all the tracking for us today. Unsung hero, because I haven't mentioned it all yet today. Thank you, Lana, for mentioning earlier. Relkin has definitely kept us, our heads on straight so far.
Hey, Sigma, thank you very much for like the restream as well. We greatly appreciate it.
Alrighty, here is the Tempered Sword fight here against Ganon. Much smoother with the first two phases. Hard not to be. And in good shape to close this out very quickly. Also, listen to this banger soundtrack. I love MSU 1 hacks.
We are waiting for both runners to finish before starting the interview, so that will start momentarily as well.
Pops silver into Ganon here in phase 4. Fire Rod shot available. Wisely choosing to wait for the warp as Ganon was moving to the bottom of the screen in a dangerous spot. Good heads up play from Magno. dropping a couple more silvers, maybe a third, and that's a triple to close it out. GG Magno.
By GG.
And Magno finishes in second place today with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 25 seconds. You just had Nightmare. You feel good? I mean, it was a good race.
Kind of rude, Dan. Kind of rude.
All right, we are joined by our racers, Magno Hato and Illus. GG.
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 I can hear the stress in your guys' voice, and I totally get it.
It was definitely a nasty seat to play.
I really wanted to do the Aga climb earlier. We had so many small keys, and I thought it was the Swamp Small, but Turtle Rock Small leading to Swamp Small was.
By the time I came to that as my last location, I figured it's probably the Turtle Rock key. But that's how it ended up being.
Scenario regarding the keys with Turtle Rock. I mean, you guys climbed the mountain a bajillion times, if not twice that. It was a fun and entertaining race to watch from the spectator side, though. Both of you showed us a lot of interesting decisions.
It's tough. I mean, it was a close race, so GG. It's tough losing to GT routing. Yep.
And I will say, the two of you were about 3 seconds apart walking into the dungeon.
Yeah, I guess I have. What do you say? I think I have fewer checks than Illus, but yeah, I don't know. If the key is in random room, I think I get a little advantage by him checking right side first. I mean, it's close.
Since we have you on the mic about this particular mode, wanted to ask the two of you, how do you feel about tournament keys? This is definitely a novel key sandy format. I think the Castle Tower aspect of that and the Gans Tower aspect of that really played heavily into this race.
Oh, I think it's horrible. Let it be full key sanity or nothing. I mean, this makes the Aga play a lot more probable, or what do you say? I don't know. Yeah, and then it's a GT big key hunt in GT. So GT routing is a thing again.
As for me, I definitely hate losing to a random GT big key somewhere in the world when you're in GT mode. So I like that one. And I dislike the Aga Tower change because it just makes things a little easier to read if you find the Aga Tower keys. And also you have 2 additional checks which can impact some routing decisions and makes things more interesting. Overall, I would say that key sanity is not exactly my strong suit. Of course I can play it and I can play it well, but it's not my favorite mode.
Well, so I think the natural follow-up question for both of you, of course, has to be, of the tournament modes we have so far in this tournament, you got a favorite?
I think Map Compass Boss Shuffle was my favorite in this tournament. I like that dungeons have more value and you can make a little more or some gambles in this mode. And yeah.
As for me, the people who know me will know that I love to play inverted, so definitely the inverted keys. I wish the inverted keys was like either inverted 80 keys or regular inverted, but I'm probably alone with the regular inverted. People don't like it that much, but yeah, in general, inverted is my favorite.
And hey, plenty of opportunity for inverted ahead. I wanted to ask, of course, this is obviously the end of your tournament journey here, Magno, but I am wondering what's next for you. Do you have any other tournament aspirations or any events that we could look forward to seeing you in?
Yeah, probably. I like cross keys a lot, so I heard there's a tournament coming up. SG Live is a thing, so not the one with being present in the USA. I mean the online thing. Yeah, I mean I just participate in the upcoming events. I think I like Link to the Past a lot.
Well,
Yeah,
surely we'll be eagerly awaiting that. And of course, I have to ask you, Illus, are there any other events that you plan to participate in?
I mean, same for me. I'm definitely joining the cross keys tourney, and if things go right, I might go to SG Live in person. So yeah, looking forward to getting there and joining.
You hear that, folks? You might actually meet Illus. That sounds exciting.
Sounds exciting to me as well. I've never been to an NA yet.
Well, I promise we're pretty hospitable. I think it depends, I guess, where you go. But I know that the folks who run speed gaming events do a fantastic job. And folks, if you have any means to attend SG Live, which is live again, by the way, this year, definitely make your way out there. I wish I could join you. Unfortunately, work obligations. But that's the thing that's great about this community. We are constantly looking for fun ways to interact with each other, and there are plenty of other events going on. Of course, if your fix today is going to be more Link to the Past Randomizer, there's plenty available for you. We'll get to that in a moment. I wanted to ask any closing thoughts on the tournament, Magno, before we get some final words from your opponent.
Sure, I had a lot of fun, and I had lots of close races, and yeah, I also had fun doing commentary in this tournament. But I guess I'm promoted to a commentator for now for the rest of the tourney. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward for the next tourneys.
Magno, you make that sound like you got promoted to customer.
Yes.
Hey, we're happy to have you. Well, I appreciate the sentiments. I also want to follow up and make sure that, Illus, you have your last say here as well as we close out the broadcast. How are you feeling going into the next round?
Well, I'm feeling lots of tension. Like a lot of this tournament life has been kind of close. I had a race in which I was either first in my group or I was out, and this one was also pretty nerve-wracking. But you know, it's also very fun, and I'm looking forward to competing some more.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And of course, the best way for all of you to keep up with these folks, regardless of whether it's this particular tournament or Link to the Past or really anything they're doing, we'll link their channels here in chat so you can follow them on their personal Twitch pages. If you're looking for more action here on Speed Gaming today, of course, all week we've been having the SNES Superstars Marathon going on Speed Gaming 1, but for this tournament, plenty more going on today. On this channel in 2 hours, you're going to have Moogle Charm versus Yagamoth. ALTTP Randomizer later will have Humbug versus Willer J. Bradley. Speed Gaming 2 have Zelga Desan versus Jay Meisher, and several more going on. And if you're a volunteer out there, you could potentially get another one aired if you see one that doesn't have a channel. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I've spoken my piece and said way too much. Thank you, everybody, for helping run this thing and for attending and being in chat. Viewers like you make this a reality. I want to thank Lana Bean for joining me on the mic, who has been really doing the heavy lifting lately, and thank you for that. And of course, Relkin, 96 for tracking today. Lana, any closing words? I'm sorry, I've taken up way too much time on the mic.
You're good. My voice is completely shot, so I just want to say thank you as well. Thank you everybody involved today. I greatly appreciate it as always. And I'll just say thank you so much and have a great day, everybody. And we'll just have you go ahead and close out. Thank you.
Hey everybody, you heard it here first. This is the best place to find Link to the Past Randomizer action, Speed Gaming. And this tournament continues marching on. Congratulations to Illus today. Looking forward to seeing Magno again shortly. And the rest of you at a restream near you. Have a wonderful day.